Today's video is going to show us how to solve stories with missing parts. As always, it's really important to listen to what the story is asking you, and it's a great idea to draw a picture. So I'll show you examples of how to solve and what to look for. Let's look at an example. So this story problem says, Mrs. Willoughby had 7 cookies. 4 were pink and the rest were white. How many cookies were white? So we want to first ask ourselves, what is the story asking us to do? What information are we trying to get using math? So in this story, it's asking how many cookies were white. Next, we need to look at what else we know. Well, if we want to know how many cookies were white, we need to know how many cookies were there and if there's any specifics about other colors. So in this story, Mrs. Willoughby had 7 cookies to start with, and we know that 4 of them are pink. So then the rest of them are white. So if we know that she had 7 total and 4 were pink, we can start there. Let's start by drawing a picture. If she has 7 cookies, then I start by drawing 7 cookies. That's that's our whole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She has her 7 cookies. That's how many Mrs. Willoughby started with. The other piece of information that we know is that 4 were pink. So let's make 4 of them pink. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since that's the information we have, we know that right here it says the rest were white. So if 4 of them were pink, 4 of the 7 cookies were pink right here, that means the rest of them were white. And we can see here in our picture that 3 of them were white. Let's take a look at how we could solve that using a part-whole box. So again, we're thinking about with the part-whole box, we want to know, okay, what do we have? Do we have a part or a whole? In this case, we know that 7 is the whole. That's how many cookies we have total. So that's going to go up here in the box for the whole. Then we know that 4 of those were pink. So we put 4 in the part that we know. Now there's a missing part here. So you can use whatever strategies you want with part-whole boxes to figure out what that missing part is. We can use some equations to help represent our thinking too. In the picture, an equation to match would be we started with 7. We colored in 4 of them, so we took them away. So that would be 7 minus 4, and then we see what was left. The part-whole box, we could use the subtraction equation, but we could also use an addition equation. We know that 7 is the whole and that 4 is a part. So we could say 4 plus blank, the other part, is the whole, which is 7. So you could use either equation. Whichever one you use, you'll get 3. 7 minus 4 is 3. We can see that with the 3 white circles. And we can tell that 4 plus 3 equals 7. When we put 4 and 3 together, we have however many cookies we started with, which was 7. Let's take a look at another example. Mrs. Willoughby had 5 cookies this time. She gave some to Jared. Now she has 1 cookie. How many cookies did Mrs. Willoughby give to Jared? So I want you to pause and see if you can take the steps through to figure out how many cookies Mrs. Willoughby gave to Jared. You can do this on a whiteboard or a piece of paper. Once you're finished solving it on your own and giving it a try, play the rest of the video to see if you followed one of the strategies that I gave you here. All right, now that you've given it a try, let's reread the story problem and see how we would solve it. So Mrs. Willoughby had 5 cookies. She gave some to Jared. Now she has 1 cookie. How many cookies did Mrs. Willoughby give to Jared? So the very first thing we're going to ask ourselves is, what is the story asking us to solve? What do we want to know by using math? In this one, it's asking how many cookies did Mrs. Willoughby give to Jared? Now that I know what I'm trying to figure out, I have to look at what I already know from the problem. I see in the problem that we have 5 cookies to start. She gave some, we don't know how many, and she's left with 1. So I can start by drawing a picture with the 5 cookies. So we see 5 cookies here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many Mrs. Willoughby started with. The story says she gave some to Jared, so we're not sure how many, but we do know after she was done giving them to Jared that she had 1 cookie left. So let's label the 1 cookie that she did have left. So that red one is Mrs. Willoughby's cookie. That's all that she has left. And if she only has 1 in the end left, then we know the rest of them are what she gave to Jared. So those are the ones that she has left, or those are the ones that she gave to Jared. Looking at a part whole box, we're thinking about what do we know? Do we know a part? Do we know a whole? Do we know 2 parts? So in this story, we know that she started with 5 cookies, so that's the whole. So I'll put the 5 up in the whole. Then what's left is one of the parts. So I don't know how many she gave, so one of the parts is going to be missing. But I do know that the other part is 1, because that's how many we have left after giving them to Jared. So now I can use my strategies counting on, counting backwards, or drawing a picture in the boxes to see how many we must have given to Jared. You can use equations to help yourself. One equation you could use, looking at the part whole box, would be 1 plus blank, that part that we don't know, equals 5. So how many more do I have to put with 1 to get to 5 at the top? Or we can look at it kind of like we did with our picture. We had 5. We know that 1 was Mrs. Willoughby, so we can take that out, and we know that we had 4 left. So any way that you do it, you can see that we have 4 cookies that we gave to Jared. As you're doing yours today, make sure that you are using more than one strategy so that you can check yourself. On your work, I should see either a picture, a part whole box, or an equation. I should see 2 of those of the 3 so that I can really tell you're understanding this. As always, if you need to watch the video again, please do. And use your resources such as our posters on the wall to help you as you're guiding through and doing your work.